The vanishing village in Canada, the Angikuni Incident. Hello, mystery hunters and explorers of the unknown, and welcome back to the Hidden Hour. Today, we're plunging into one of the most perplexing and spine-chilling enigmas in modern history: the mysterious disappearance of an entire Inuit village near Lake Angikuni in Canada's remote Nunavut territory. In November 1930, approximately 30 villagers, along with their livestock, vanished without a trace, leaving behind half-cooked meals, unfinished sewing, and a haunting silence. This baffling event, often called the Angikuni Incident, has sparked theories ranging from alien abductions to supernatural forces. Yet nearly a century later, no definitive answers have emerged. We'll unravel the details of the disappearance, scrutinize the investigations, explore the myriad theories, examine the cultural and historical context, and ponder whether the truth behind this lost village will ever be uncovered. So, bundle up, keep your flashlight handy, and let's venture into the frozen heart of this enduring mystery. The story unfolds in the desolate wilderness of Nunavut, a vast region in northern Canada known for its rugged terrain, freezing temperatures, and sparse population. Lake Angikuni, nestled in the Kivalliq region along the Kazan River, is surrounded by rocky outcrops and tundra, a harsh environment where survival demands resilience. The Inuit village near the lake, sometimes spelled Angikuni, was a small settlement of about 30 people, though some exaggerated accounts claim up to 2,000. The villagers, primarily Inuit, lived a traditional lifestyle, relying on hunting caribou, fishing for lake trout and Arctic grayling, and trading furs with trappers who passed through. The village was a vital stop for these travelers, offering warmth and supplies in an otherwise unforgiving landscape. Its residents were known for their hospitality, and their homes, built from wood and hides, were scattered along the lake's edge, blending into the stark beauty of the Arctic. In November 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle approached the village, expecting the familiar sights and sounds of life: barking sled dogs, children playing, and smoke rising from chimneys. LaBelle, a seasoned traveler who had visited Angikuni many times, was accustomed to its welcoming atmosphere. Instead, he encountered an eerie stillness. As he entered the village, the scene grew increasingly unsettling. Every home was empty, yet signs of recent activity were everywhere. Pots of stew hung over smoldering fires, suggesting meals abandoned mid-preparation. Half-sewn shirts lay with needles still threaded, as if the seamstress had stepped away moments before. Rifles, essential for hunting and protection, leaned untouched against walls. LaBelle searched every dwelling, but not a single person remained, not a man, woman, or child. The mystery deepened as LaBelle made more disturbing discoveries. The village's sled dogs, critical for transportation and survival, were found dead, buried under snowdrifts, having starved despite food left nearby. Most chilling of all, the village graveyard had been desecrated. Graves were dug up, their bodies missing, yet the heavy stones marking the burial sites remained undisturbed, ruling out scavengers. The frozen ground would have required tools and effort to excavate, suggesting deliberate human action. Terrified and confused, LaBelle fled to a telegraph station and contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, then known as the Northwest Mounted Police, reporting that the entire village had vanished. The RCMP responded swiftly, dispatching officers to investigate what would become one of Canada's most enduring mysteries. Their findings only intensified the enigma. The food left in the homes, including a stew with preserved berries, indicated the villagers had disappeared about 2 months earlier, around September 1930, yet LaBelle insisted he saw fresh signs of activity, like burning fires, suggesting a more recent departure. The police confirmed the starved dogs and the disturbed graves, noting that the graves' condition implied careful excavation, not the work of animals or natural forces. They searched the surrounding tundra, lake shores, and nearby settlements, but found no footprints, no signs of migration, and no trace of the villagers or their livestock, which included caribou and goats. During the investigation, the RCMP interviewed a local hunter named Armand Laurent and his two sons, who provided a peculiar detail. Days before Lebel's discovery, they had observed a strange, glowing object in the sky, described as shape-shifting and moving toward Lake Angikuni. One RCMP officer also reported seeing an unusual green light on the horizon while searching the area. These accounts, though unverified, added a layer of intrigue, hinting at otherworldly involvement. Despite extensive searches across the Kivalliq region, no evidence of the villagers emerged. The RCMP eventually closed the case, unable to explain the disappearance. To quell public alarm, Canadian authorities suppressed media coverage and later dismissed the incident as a possible fabrication by Lebel, perhaps under the influence of alcohol. However, local trappers and Inuit communities vouched for the village's existence, contradicting the official narrative. The Angikuni incident first gained public attention through a November 1930 article by journalist Emmett E. Kelleher in La Paz, Manitoba. Kelleher reported a village of 25 to 30 people, aligning with the RCMP's estimate, and described Lebel's chilling discovery. The story faded until 1959, when Frank Edwards' book Stranger Than Science revived it, exaggerating details like the population, claiming over 1,000, and adding elements like mysterious lights and empty cemeteries. Edwards' account, echoed in later works like Whitley Strieber's Majestic and Dean Koontz's Phantoms, transformed the incident into a pop culture phenomenon, often presented as evidence of UFOs or paranormal activity. Skeptics, including the modern RCMP, label it an urban legend, arguing that no village of significant size could exist in such a remote area and that no official records document unusual activity in 1930. Yet Kelleher's article, predating Edwards' embellishments, suggests some basis in reality. Let's delve into the theories that have emerged to explain the Angikuni mystery. The most sensational is the alien abduction hypothesis, popularized by Edwards and UFO enthusiasts. Proponents cite Laurent's sighting of a shape-shifting object and the RCMP officer's green light as evidence of extraterrestrial intervention. The lack of footprints, the abrupt abandonment of homes, and the missing bodies, including those from the graves, are seen as signs of a mass abduction. Some speculate the villagers were taken to another planet or dimension, explaining the absence of physical evidence. In the mid-20th century, as UFO sightings surged, this theory gained traction, fitting the era's fascination with extraterrestrial life. However, no concrete evidence, like landing marks, radiation, or debris, supports this idea, and the sightings remain anecdotal. Another popular theory involves supernatural forces. Drawing on Inuit folklore, the Inuit speak of the Wendigo, a cannibalistic spirit that haunts the wilderness, or Torngarsik, a sky god with fearsome powers. Some suggest these entities, or a similar malevolent force, spirited the villagers away. The desecrated graves and the eerie silence Lebel described fueled this idea, as does the Arctic's reputation as a place where the veil between worlds feels thin. Others propose the villagers were pulled into a parallel dimension, a concept rooted in science fiction but lacking empirical support. These supernatural explanations resonate with the region's isolating, mysterious landscape, where long winters and vast distances can amplify fears of the unknown. But they rely on belief rather than evidence. A more grounded theory is mass migration. The Inuit were semi-nomadic, often relocating to follow caribou herds or fish migrations. Perhaps the villagers left voluntarily, taking their livestock and leaving non-essential items behind. However, this theory struggles to explain key details. The Inuit would not abandon rifles, food, or clothing, especially in the Arctic winter, where survival depends on preparation. The starved dogs, left buried in snow, suggest neglect, not a planned departure. The disturbed graves violate Inuit cultural taboos against tampering with burial sites, making it unlikely the villagers would desecrate their own ancestors' resting places. Moreover, Extensive searches of nearby settlements and trade routes found no trace of the group, and no other community reported their arrival. Could foul play be the answer? Some speculate the villagers were attacked, killed, or kidnapped, with their bodies hidden, yet Lebel and the RCMP found no signs of struggle, blood, or theft. The intact possessions, including valuable rifles, rule out robbery. A rival group or outsider could have orchestrated the disappearance, but the lack of evidence, footprints, weapons, or disturbed snow, makes this improbable. Another grim possibility is mass suicide, perhaps driven by disease, famine, or a collective belief in a curse. One theory suggests the villagers, fearing supernatural retribution, leapt into the Kazan River or Lake Angikuni, leaving their homes untouched. However, this doesn't account for the missing livestock, the absence of tracks, or the empty graves. The frozen terrain would have preserved evidence of such a large group's movement. Yet none was found. Environmental factors are another consideration. A sudden blizzard or avalanche could have forced the villagers to flee. But the intact homes, with fires still burning, contradict this. A sinkhole or geological event is unlikely, given the region's stable, rocky terrain, and no such phenomenon was reported. Disease, such as a rapid plague or influenza outbreak, could have wiped out the village, but bodies would likely remain, and the missing graves and livestock don't fit this scenario. Starvation is also improbable, as food was found in the homes, and the Inuit were skilled at surviving in harsh conditions. Skeptics argue the entire story is a fabrication, a tall tale spun by Lebel or embellished by Kelleher. The modern RCMP claims no large village existed at Angikuni, and the lack of official record supports this. Brian Dunning, in his Skeptoid podcast, initially doubted the story's origins but later acknowledged Kelleher's 1930 article. Though he believes it's likely exaggerated, the inflated population of 2,000, seen in later retellings, adds to the skepticism, as such a community would be unsustainable in the region's scarce ecosystem. However, the consistent accounts from trappers, Lawrence sighting, and the RCMP's initial investigation suggest some event occurred, even if on a smaller scale. The cultural and historical context of 1930 offers further insight. Nunavut was sparsely populated, with limited communication infrastructure. News traveled by word of mouth. Prone to distortion, the Canadian government, wary of panic or unrest, suppressed reports of the incident, which may have fueled speculation. The Inuits' marginalization during this period meant their disappearance might not have been thoroughly investigated. Reflecting colonial indifference, the story's later amplification in UFO and paranormal literature mirrors the mid-20th century's growing fascination with the unexplained, particularly during the Cold War, when fears of extraterrestrial invasion were rampant. Archaeological evidence near Lake Angikuni provides some context, though not direct answers. In 1948, explorer Farley Mowat visited the lake and discovered a cairn, built in a non-Inuit style, containing wooden pieces with dovetailed corners. He speculated it was linked to Francis Crozier, part of Sir John Franklin's lost 1848 expedition to find the Northwest Passage. While unrelated to the 1930 incident, this suggests the area held secrets long before Lebel's discovery. Modern technologies, like satellite imagery or ground-penetrating radar, could potentially uncover clues, but the site remains largely unexplored due to its remoteness and harsh conditions. The Angikuni mystery shares parallels with other unexplained disappearances. The Roanoke colony, where 117 settlers vanished in 1587, left only the word Croatoan carved on a post. The Mary Celeste, found adrift in 1872 with its crew missing, had no signs of violence. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse, where 3 keepers disappeared in 1900, left behind untouched meals and a stopped clock. These cases, like Angikuni, defy logic, with clues that raise more questions than answers. Their enduring appeal lies in their ambiguity, inviting us to speculate and imagine. What makes Angikuni so compelling is its blend of tangible evidence and maddening uncertainty. The physical signs, cooking fires, starved dogs, empty graves, are concrete. Yet they lead nowhere. The absence of modern forensic tools in 1930, like DNA analysis, aerial surveys, or carbon dating, limited the investigation. Today, revisiting the site with advanced technology might yield new insights. But the Arctic's harsh terrain and the passage of time make this challenging. Joe LaBelle, the sole witness, died long ago, taking any clarifying details with him. The lack of photographs, maps, or detailed RCMP records further clouds the truth. Could the answer lie in a combination of factors? Perhaps a small group left under mysterious circumstances and natural processes, like heavy snow or scavengers, erased their tracks. The graves might have been disturbed earlier, unrelated to the disappearance. The UFO sightings could be misidentified atmospheric phenomena, such as auroras or ball lightning, common in the Arctic. Yet this patchwork explanation feels incomplete, unable to account for the full scope of the mystery. The starved dogs, the undisturbed possessions, and the missing bodies defy a single, tidy solution. The Angikuni incident challenges our need for closure. It reminds us that some mysteries resist explanation, existing in a liminal space between fact and folklore. Whether the villagers were taken by aliens, spirits, or a more mundane force, their story endures as a testament to the unknown. It speaks to the fragility of human existence in the face of nature's vastness and the limits of our understanding. The Arctic, with its endless winters and stark beauty, is a fitting backdrop for such a tale, amplifying our sense of awe and unease. The incident also invites reflection on how we process the unexplained. In 1930, the Inuits' disappearance was quickly dismissed, perhaps because their lives were deemed less significant in a colonial framework. Today, we might approach the mystery with greater respect for their culture and history, recognizing the loss of a community with its own traditions and stories. The Angikuni incident is not just a puzzle to solve but a reminder of the human cost of unresolved mysteries. Ultimately, the truth behind Angikuni may never be known. It could be a tragic but explainable event, distorted by time and retelling. Or it could be something truly extraordinary, defying our current understanding. What keeps the story alive is its ability to spark curiosity, fear, and wonder. It asks us to confront the unknown, to question what we believe is possible, and to honor the memory of those who vanished. As we close this haunting exploration of the Angikuni mystery, we thank you for joining us on the Hidden Hour. If this chilling tale of Canada's lost village left you intrigued, please smash that like button, share this video with your fellow mystery enthusiasts, and hit subscribe to stay tuned for our next journey into the unknown. Your support fuels our quest to uncover the world's strangest stories. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye for now.